You're listening to Icebreakers, the podcast exploring all things Canadian and Eurasian, business, culture, and personalities. The series is produced by CERBA, the Canada, Eurasia, Russia Business Association. We're a non-profit supporting trade, investment, and good relations between Canada and the countries of Eurasia. I'm your host, Nathan Hunt, one of the founders of CERBA and former chairman of the National Board. I invite you to tune in regularly for valuable insights relating to the region. Good morning. I'm joined today by Darren Dietz, Canadian-born professional ice hockey defenseman. He's currently playing at CSKA Moscow, the Central Army team, and until quite recently served as captain of the Barys Nur-Sultan team based in Kazakhstan. Both teams are, of course, in the Continental Hockey League, the KHL. Darren's professional career started with the Alberta-based Medicine Hat Tigers hockey team, leading him to be drafted later for the Saskatoon Blades and still later the Montreal Canadiens. 5 years ago, he was signed with Kazakhstani Barys Hockey Club, within which he was named KHL Defenseman of the Year in the 2018-19 season, and named a Kazakh hockey legend in the local history of sports archive by the Kazakhstani media. Captain of the team until you were traded about a week ago to Moscow. And that was a shock for all of us. It must have been a bit of a shock for you, Darren.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly turned my world upside down. We know that that's part of the business when you're a hockey player, and that can happen at a moment's notice. And that happened to me.
Well, half of these questions were going to be about what's it like living in Kazakhstan. You're no longer living in Kazakhstan, so
you know what? I love talking about Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan had a great time there. Had a lot of great years there, so I love sharing my experience.
Now, who did you live? Do you live with family there? Who did you live with when you were in Nur-Sultan?
Yeah, I lived with my girlfriend. We both just had an apartment in town, and that's where we lived and carried on our life.
What was it like living in Nur-Sultan? The city has fabulous architecture. The skyline is astounding. But what was it actually like living in the city for the better part of 5 years?
A lot of people ask me that, wanting to hear, something really cool or super, something extremely extraordinary from what life is in Canada. But honestly, I don't have anything really out of the ordinary to say in that regard. It's a pretty standard living situation. Most foreign players, we all lived in a complex called Highville. There's maybe 5 or 6 very large apartment buildings and complexes that are fully equipped with restaurants, grocery stores, daycares, schools are close by. So it's really, everything you need right close. It was about a 20-minute drive from the arena. So a quick jaunt across the city to the arena and back. And, really comfortable living setup and conditions for us.
Kind of a clean, compact existence.
Exactly.
You got everything you need at your fingertips, it sounds like.
That's right.
Now, Darren, you're originally from Alberta. Where in Alberta? Because I don't have that in my notes.
I'm from Medicine Hat, small town Medicine Hat.
Oh, you're from Medicine Hat, hence the Medicine Hat Tigers.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. That's where it all started for me.
Amazing. What league was that?
That would have been, Western League, I played in Saskatoon. So before that, it would have been just minor hockey, I believe midget AAA.
Oh, it was the Alberta Elite Hockey League, wasn't it?
That might even have been Bantam. So I'd have been age 14, 15, actually, at that time.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you made the move to Saskatoon, to the Western Hockey League?
I was 16. 16, I'd
16. So still quite young.
Yeah, absolutely. That's, part of the experience of being a hockey player. A lot of us leave home really quite early, chasing our dreams, chasing our career.
And then on to Hamilton from there, as I recall?
Yeah, so then after that, I was drafted by the Montreal Canadiens. Their farm team, our American Hockey League affiliate at that time, was the Hamilton Bulldogs. And that's at age 20. I turned professional and started my pro career in Hamilton. And that was, my first time in Eastern Canada. Getting to live in the GTA area in Hamilton and starting to get the feel of what real professional hockey was like day in, day out. And it was an amazing time as well.
You lived in the decadent East, finally.
That's right.
And it must have been a dream come true to be drafted by the Montreal Canadiens. I mean, that's one of the greatest teams in the world. Let's face it. What was that like?
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. That's the only way to say it, is a dream come true. For any Canadian player to be drafted at all, that's the goal, that's the dream. So I wouldn't say we're picky by any means on what team, but for it to be a storied franchise like the Montreal Canadiens, just an absolute first class organization that I don't even know how to explain. You walk in, just all the dressing room, wow, the facilities, the training staff. It was like, wow, I'm at the big time. This is unbelievable. And it was like that they treated us that way in the American League as well. So just that organization in general, I think for me to be a part of that, knowing what I know now, fast forward, not all organizations are like that. And in Montreal, they really do try and provide everything they absolutely can for their team to succeed.
They take care of you, it sounds like.
They take care of you very well.
Well, that's good to hear. So I got to ask about the transition. You were in the NHL. You went to the KHL. What was behind that? What was your thinking, your reasoning? Were you, wary of that decision? Did you ever second guess that? What was behind that decision, and what prompted you to make the move?
Well, for me, in my third year of my contract with Montreal, I'd finally cracked the lineup with the Canadiens and finished the year playing really only 13 games, so it was a cup of coffee for me. But I felt like I was ready. I was 23 years old. I felt like I was ready in my chance and was able to finish the season there in Montreal. That year, my contract expired, and the team went in a different direction. They released me to free agency, in which I then signed with the Washington Capitals, trying to crack their roster. Now, I was unsuccessful in doing so. That year, they ended up winning the Stanley Cup. Really strong team. I was unable to make it. And for me,
Ovechkin plays for them. We know.
That's right. So, and at that point,
our beloved son.
And at that point, I'd played 4 years, for the majority of 4 years in the minor league, and I was searching for something different. I felt like my development as a player and person had maybe started to regress, and I was searching for just a different experience. And that's when the opportunity came up to play in the KHL. Now, I didn't know exactly where at the time, but I agreed with my agent in discussions with him that I would like to pursue any opportunity available. A few weeks later, because the seasons are not quite lined up, the North American season and the KHL season, they're about a month off.
Oh, are they? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so a couple of special dates, let's say like the free agency dates and training camp dates, they move a little bit.
Okay.
So I'd wait a little bit, and I'd got news that there was an opportunity for me to move to Astana, Kazakhstan at the time, for Barys. And right away, I kind of had this pause. Kind of what?
Of course.
Kazakhstan. I mean, I was thinking Russia.
Yeah, you got to rewatch Borat before you move to that country, right?
And I'm thinking I'd watched the movie, and I mean, of course, it's just a movie; it doesn't reflect it. But there's still some thoughts in your mind, right? Anyway, the phone goes silent a little bit. Agent just says to me, Darren, it's a really good offer. It's a really good team. I think you should strongly consider it. Spend some time on Google and get back to me, but not too long. I mean, we're talking 48 hours maximum.
Well, and I'm gonna pry here. I don't need any numbers, but I've heard that the KHL is a pretty generous organization when it comes to attracting players.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. There was definitely a financial factor that played a major role as far as
didn't hurt a bit. I bet
it wasn't bad that way. As far as being a player who'd only played in the minors, you're definitely looking at salary or paycheck when you move overseas for sure.
So you made I get the impression that you were a darling of the team. The Kazakhstan media loved you. They named you a Kazakh legend of sport or something. I'm not quite sure what that award is about or what that appellation carries with it. But I have to ask you, it seems like you were well accepted when you arrived.
Yeah, you know what? When I arrived that first year, we had a really great team. Had a great start. We were surrounded by what I would call some true legends of Kazakhstan, and Kevin Dahlman, Nigel Dawes, Henrik Carlson, some guys who were really experienced in the KHL. And they played a big role in taking me under their wing. I was just a young guy, 24 years old now, and really showing me the ropes, teaching me what the league is like, and made me feel comfortable in my surroundings. And being comfortable, of course, allows you to perform at a high level. big thanks to them in helping me get my footing in Kazakhstan. As well, we had a really young group, a young team, so that helped me fit in just with the other guys. What's interesting is, a 24-year-old guy from Canada and Kazakhstan got a whole lot of similarities. Even if you can't speak together or communicate through language, so to speak, there's still body language and lots of other ways to communicate and have fun together. So I was able to gel in with the team really quite quickly, and that helped me perform on ice.
Well, and you became a leader. You keep talking about how young and green you were, which kind of surprises me because you became captain of the team quite fairly soon. Did I get that wrong, or how did that happen?
Yeah, it was. I played 2 full seasons with the team, and then in that 3rd season, I was named captain of the team, and that I'm really proud of, to have the respect of your peers in the dressing room as well as others. But along with it came some, very serious responsibilities. There it is. I had some very big responsibilities that came along with that.
Well, okay, I want to talk about the Russian language, but let's follow this line first. You said some very big responsibilities. What responsibilities came along with being captain?
Well, when you're captain of any team or of any organization, so to speak, you answer to the media directly. After the game, they want to know why you won or why you lost, and you're the one who has to go and answer for it.
You and I, before we started recording, you used the word pounce. The media like to pounce. I think you said.
That's right. So, you're the one who goes out. You're the face of the team. You have to answer for that. You also are in charge of controlling the dressing room a little bit. So there's a message from the coaching staff that always is going to come down, but it's your job to make sure that message goes right through to every player in the dressing room. Because you don't want to have a separation where the coaches are saying one thing, but maybe a group of players are divided and don't agree. So as a captain, it's your job to make sure that everyone is on board and agrees with what's going on. That's not always the easiest thing to do. There's 20, 22, 23 different guys on any hockey team, and in this case from many different countries as well, speaking many different languages. So that's quite a task sometimes to get everyone on board.
Did you find yourself involved in discipline? You had to discipline this player, discipline that player because you're the captain.
Well, I don't want to use the word discipline, but there are different approaches you try and take to try to persuade players, let's say, to believe in what's going on if they're not. Or it may even be you see something in a teammate, he just seems off. You're not sure what it is. Maybe it's something at home. Maybe he's just not comfortable. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable in the position he's playing on the team. You can be that person that speaks with him and then maybe passes that message on to the coaching staff in a positive way to get the best out of everyone. So that's kind of the role you play in the room.
Team psychologist.
A little bit like that. There are some points that, of course, I have no training and would not call myself a psychologist in any way. But there's a little bit that goes around.
Well, you seem to have done all right in the last, what were you, 3 years a captain or 2 years?
3 full seasons I served as captain.
3 full seasons as a captain. Amazing. Now, you touched on the Russian language issue. We know that Russia is pretty much the lingua franca in Kazakhstan. All Kazakhs speak Russian, and they tend to speak it among themselves, although there is a beautiful ancient language, the Kazakh language itself. But they tend to speak Russian in most day-to-day settings. Am I right? Do I have that wrong, perhaps?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair to say. Of course, different in the city, it's being very bilingual. So it could be compared to a city like Ottawa or Montreal, where you're going to see both French language and English language. Nur-Sultan is very much like that as well. But in our dressing room, in our locker room, it was always in Russian language.
Now, did you have any background in Russian? You must have had no background, or did you study it at all?
I had zero background at all. Actually, one day I had been in the city about a week. I just found my apartment and was just walking around trying to, get my footing. And like I'd mentioned, it was a really great living quarters, living zone. And I stumbled across a Russian language school. There it said in English letters, "Want to learn Russian?" And I thought to myself,
yes.
Hey, yes, that might come in handy. I'd been a few days at the rink now, and we had a translator that would translate a few things, so we knew what was going on. And hockey, they can draw things on a board, and you know where you're supposed to be going and what you're supposed to do. But I just thought to myself, I'd really like to take my experience to the next level, be able to communicate with teammates and have a little bit more of a life off the ice. It sure wouldn't hurt to take a few lessons and, try at least. And so there I went.
Now I'll ask another personal question: is your girlfriend Canadian, or is she local, Kazakh or Russian?
No, she's local Kazakh. Yeah, we met.
Okay,
there.
So there's a little Russian practice right there.
There you go. Right.
Never hurts.
So now at home, it's funny. So now at home, fast forward 5 years, at home on weekdays, we speak Russian between each other. And on the weekdays, we speak English. Or sorry, weekends. I said that wrong. On weekdays, we speak English. And on weekends, we speak
Russian.
Oh, my God. We're going to cut that because I got it backwards again.
Have you been drinking this morning, Darren?
No, well, it's
evening in Moscow. I forgot. Yes.
No, I got a game tomorrow, so no, I'm
okay.
not. So I'll rephrase that again. During the week, we speak Russian amongst each other, and on the weekends, we speak English.
Interesting. Now, did your girlfriend speak English before you were together?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So she is. Her level of English is quite a bit higher than mine in Russian, I would say.
So I heard you say the word ответственность, which is not the easiest of Russian words. Your Russian seems to be pretty decent, I'm going to guess.
You know what? I can live daily in Russia or in Russian-speaking country without English. I don't need to rely on my English anymore.
Говоришь нормально по-русски уже.
Нормально говорю, да.
There you have it. Now I got to ask about the move. These moves are just, these trades are just savage. I mean, they really are. They uproot you. I think you had like 48 hours notice. Get your stuff together and get out of here. It's ruthless, the speed at which these things take place, is it not?
Yeah, you know what, it is. And there usually is a point in the year, and that's right around 2 to 3 weeks inside the trade deadline. So there's a trade deadline every year where after that moment in time, no longer trades cannot happen. So teams, they like to see where they're at, and other teams are looking to strengthen, add players. Other teams are, who knows, looking to build for next year if they feel like they can acquire an asset for a player. So once you get inside the month, that December month, everyone becomes alert because there's a possibility that movement could happen. And it's been a long time for me, 5 years, right in one team where I had, let's say, made it through that trade deadline period. And this year, not so.
Well, and you had some hints. You were telling before we started recording. What were your hints?
Well,
you were talking about that.
The media here is pretty crazy. So you start to hear rumors through the media, but nothing concrete. And you know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yep.
So I started to see in the press, some comments talking that there were teams interested, that there were offers being made for me. But of course, it's kind of an awkward thing. You're not exactly speaking with the management of your club if there's any truth or anything not. You kind of just stay focused, do your job, show up, do your job every day until you're told not to. And that's what ended up happening.
Barys is a fine club. They're out of Kazakhstan, but I got to tell you, in the KHL, CSKA is the golden jewel. I mean, they're one of the top teams, if not number one.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is a bit of an honor for you to join that team.
Absolutely. I'm absolutely thrilled. I mean, don't get me wrong. Again, like you said, I loved my time in Barys, my time in Kazakhstan, my time in Nur-Sultan. But the move to CSKA is definitely, it's a first-class organization in this league. The legendary Red Army team. That's what we're talking about here. And when we talk about...
This is the real thing.
Yeah, when we talk about hockey in Russia, it's the Soviet Red Army team that comes up. And that's where the roots of this team come from.
Listen to my podcast with hockey legend Vladislav Tretiak. He played for CSKA,
There you go. That's right. Absolutely. So that's exactly when we talk about Russian hockey in Canada, that's what comes up, the CSKA. So for me to have the opportunity to play here, I'm absolutely thrilled. And of course, so far it's been about 2 weeks I've been here, but nothing's disappointed as far as the level of preparation, the first-class organization that it is. I've been treated so well, and everyone has welcomed me here and made me feel a part of the family, part of the team. And we're moving forward every day with the goal of winning that cup.
It's none of my business now. You're talking hockey, and I'm going to talk personal. Is your girlfriend okay with this move? Was she uprooted? Maybe she had a job. How is she going to take this?
Absolutely. You know what? That's the thing about these moves. It uproots your entire family. For her, that meant her as well. So she's here with me, but she's been nothing but supportive and really made the transition easier for me as well. Because you got to remember, a lot of things go on. Looking for an apartment, just getting in a new area in a city like Moscow. That's not that easy for a foreigner if you don't have any help at all. And sure, I have a basic level of the language, but it was nothing like having her with me, taking care of everything, where I could really focus on my transition on ice. And she really took care of everything off ice. So without her, this transition would have been a whole heck of a lot harder. So I'm really, really fortunate to have that kind of support.
Well, it sounds like you are a fortunate man, and I commend you for that. You got a nickname, I heard. They call you Ptichka? I mean, birdie or something?
Yeah.
Tell me the story behind that. What does that mean? It means birdie in English.
Yeah. So that was my first year, and that nickname only stuck for about a year. I was lucky. Then it kind of went off. But I'd noticed some of the guys calling each other Ptichka, Scorpion, which is like Scorpion. What else did I hear? Tiger. So some of these things, they sound a little familiar to English. I'm thinking tiger, tiger, scorpion. Okay, there might be something there. And I kind of go, hey guys, like, what's my name? I want something, right? And then they all laugh and they're speaking.
I deserve a nickname too, right?
Yeah, guys, what can I have? And they look at me and they laugh and then they're speaking Russian amongst each other and they just all agreed on Ptichka. And of course, at that time, I had no idea what that meant. But I just went, okay, Ptichka. What? Yeah, Ptichka. And away we went. So that stuck for, about a year. And then that one faded away. But it was, again, something nice that the guys did to make me feel a part of it.
Now, I read, I'm switching gears back to Russian language. I read that you actually recited classic Russian poetry at one point at a team meeting. Or was it at the All-Star game in Moscow? You recited Pushkin. What did you read, and how did you fit that into a hockey game of all things?
Yeah, so for those people who don't know, the KHL All-Star game is a massive fan show where, it's not so much about the actual All-Stars or what things are going on the ice. It's more of a show. It's more for the fans to meet the players and get to know their personalities a little bit better, and they've had a lot of success with that. So for me, I actually learned the night before. I get a request. Darren, can you recite this Pushkin poem? Can you learn it? I'm like, what? And they go, well, we heard that you're learning Russian language. It shouldn't be that hard. You just in the middle of the ice tomorrow, you just grab the microphone in front of 15,000 people and just recite a poem in Russian language. What do you think? And, of course, I was experiencing.
I said, are you kidding me? It's not my native tongue, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can't be serious, but. I thought what a cool experience for me. One thing I do know about the language and Russian people, it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. It doesn't matter if you sound goofy. The fact that you're trying, people here really, really respect that.
Yep.
So that kind of relieved a lot of pressure from me. And I thought, oh, what the heck? It'll be a really cool opportunity and something I'll never forget. So the poem ended up being Zimnee Utro, or Winter Morning. And I was able to recite just the first paragraph, so it wasn't too many. It was 4 or 5 lines. And it was really cool.
Oh, but that's classic. That's classic. Yeah. And the Russians appreciate so much when they see a foreigner taking the time and the effort to learn their language. And it sounds like you learned it quite well. I bet that warmed the hearts of the Russians listening to that.
Yeah, it was a really cool thing. I had a lot of positive feedback and cool memory and challenge for me as well.
Good for you. What do you see in common? Let's talk about personalities. You lived in Kazakhstan. Russians are similar to Kazakhs. They're certainly not the same, but they're not that different either. What do you see in common between Canadiens and Kazakhs and Russians?
A big thing for me would be how inviting people are. Really how kind they are. And that's something that was maybe unexpected to me. As Canadians, we're worldwide known, or I like to think we are anyway, as being really kind, welcoming, warming people.
Right.
So are Kazakhs and so are Russians. It's really interesting once you get to know people, how they're willing to give you the shirt off their back to make you feel comfortable in the new settings, as long as you're showing the respect that you should, which isn't that the golden rule? So I've really found that there's so many things that are similar than actually non-similar.
We have much more in common than that which divides us, I think.
I agree. I agree with that, absolutely.
Well, that's great. And it's amazing that somebody who 6 years ago wasn't even looking at this part of the world has really blended in so well. You've got the language, you've got the culture, you've just been drafted by you've just been traded to one of the best teams in the league. Very impressive. What do you think about international sports cooperation? Are there any opportunities for more cooperation between the NHL and the KHL, between the leagues, between perhaps national teams? What are your thoughts there?
I think that'd be something that's a really cool idea, to have some sort of exhibition between NHL and KHL. There is a difference in level. It's hard to compare because the style of game is very different, and bar none, without the NHL is the best hockey league on the planet. There's no doubt about that. But I think, especially in the eyes of North Americans, a lot of North American people believe that if you don't play in the NHL, you're not a good player, or you are not a professional player. And I don't think there's enough respect or known of how good the level of hockey is in Europe. And that includes, the KHL, that includes the German league, the Swedish league, the league in Switzerland as well. In Sweden, there's some high-level hockey and high-level hockey players playing there. And it would be really cool and interesting to see some sort of, exhibition or tournament games of some sort. But of course, logistics are a major, major factor in that. The NHL is big business, and they operate on a business-only regime, as we're seeing now with even players not taking place in the Olympics. And so I think as far as anything like...
Yeah, it's all business, that's for sure.
The NHL is not really interested in working with anybody but themselves. That's been really quite clear over the last little while.
Yeah, we've dropped hints about joint exhibition games. Not interested.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
You said about that hockey is not just the NHL, however. I'm reminded how just 3 years ago, or it's been 4 years ago now, we inducted Alexander Yakushev, the great forward from the Soviet team in the 1970s, to the Hockey Hall of Fame. And some people said, how can you do that? He never played in the NHL. And I love Phil Esposito's comment to that, which is, this is the Hockey Hall of Fame, not the NHL Hall of Fame.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That couldn't have been answered any better. There's a lot of people who contributed to the game of hockey worldwide that maybe didn't play in the NHL or aren't known for their contribution to the NHL. Well, that doesn't mean that they didn't have an exceptional contribution and to the growth of hockey.
Yeah, Phil said that Yakushev was one of the best players he met on the ice, bar none. We're off topic now, but since we're on the topic, I'll say, that this coming year is the 50th anniversary of the great Superseries between Canada and the Soviet Union from 1972. I'm going to guess that you don't remember that series.
Yeah, I don't. I have only seen highlights. And, with that, I got the opportunity to, I feel like I remember it because I've seen highlights of certain things, but of course I don't.
Yeah, but it's a tremendous, cultural memory. It's quite an heirloom heritage for both Canada and Russia and the people of the Soviet Union. That includes the Kazakhs and the Uzbeks, everybody else who were cheering on the national team, the Soviet team in 1972. It was simply an epic struggle between two of the greatest teams in the world, perhaps the greatest national teams in the world at the time. So we're going to have some events to commemorate that this year. I hope that we can count on your participation and support.
Absolutely. That would be fantastic to be able to participate in something like that.
So I got to ask you, what made you a leader? I mean, you are a leader. You were captain of the team. What is it that made you a leader?
You know what? I think everyone has the ability to be a leader. It's that choice or option to follow in what you believe is right. We all have that voice or that feeling in your gut when something's right or wrong. And a leader is just somebody who goes in that direction, regardless of, maybe where the others are going.
So it's just inborn, you would say.
Yeah, exactly. It's I feel like everyone has it, but not everyone listens to that voice inside.
Interesting.
That directs you, your gut that directs you.
That's a good answer. Good answer. So, and my last question to you before we sign off, I got to ask, what does the future hold for Darren Dietz? You've just started at a new club. Where do you see yourself in 2025, in 2030? What do you aspire to? What are your goals? Where do you want to go?
You know what? That's an awesome question. And one of the crazy things about my business in hockey is you never really know where it is. I know that I love the game. I know that I'll continue to play the game. And I hope that brings me success and that'll bring a new chapter. Well, I've just opened a new chapter here in Moscow. I hope for that to continue. And but really, you never close doors on anything. You keep all your options open. You keep your loved ones close to you. And you kind of go wherever the wind takes you, so to speak. So whatever is in store for me, I'll be ready for it and accept it with open arms.
Well, good for you. Good for you. Darren, I can tell you it's been a real pleasure chatting today. We've been joined by Darren Dietz, until recently the captain of the Barys Hockey Club out of Nur-Sultan, the capital of Kazakhstan, and now very recently traded to the CSKA Moscow team as a defenseman. Darren, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you the very, very, very best as you go forward in your career.
Thank you so much, Nathan. It was a pleasure chatting and sharing a little bit of my experience with you. Thank you so much.
Sure. You've been listening to Icebreakers, the podcast produced by CERBA, a nonprofit business association supporting trade, investment, and good relations between Canada and the countries of Eurasia. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You can join our LinkedIn group to send questions to guests and find more information about the podcast series in general on our website at www.serbanet.org. Thanks for tuning in.